listeners. Welcome to the closing episode of Season 1. I wish to provide a heartfelt thank you to every individual in our very international community. Aiden in America, Cheryl in South Africa, June in Mexico, and Desvita in Indonesia. Gothic FM will be on hiatus for the month of December, with our return scheduled for January. We close off this season with a special episode, one of my earliest investigations, back when I had just learned to fake an American accent, back when I did not yet carry the scars, back when I still did not understand what it meant when the dark corners in your room smile, the same toothless grin the unsettling man on the street belied to you today. The shining Madonna cursed me with knowledge I never knew I would regret learning. Listener discretion is advised. The cathedral gropes both ends of the Spanish-French Pyrenees border. I was made aware of it first in my father's The Witness journals, then by whispers in the Vatican, confirmed only by an Orthodox monk on his Mount Athos deathbed. Domus Madonnae lucens, she did not reach to the sky, as most places of worship have agreed. Had I not been searching for her, I would most likely have dismissed the dread in the valley as mountain shadows superstition. But no, she buries herself down into the mountain with the small one-tower structure sticking from the mountain top, its only indicator. As I trudged up to the tower, the lifeless mountain betrayed a history of inhabitants. The Mount Athos monk was correct. Before Christianity swept the continent, this village must have been an isolated Eden of paganism. Bits of bones, humans and houses, scratched out of the ground with tattoo portrayals of Mari, the Basque goddess. Neither the Romans nor the Christians could ever truly extinguish her presence in the mountain domain. Some tried to tame her into sainthood, but the shining Madonna would not so easily let go of her worship, the way Zeus surrendered Athos. A white horse galloped to me. On its back a monk in white robes, etched with inri and crosses on the one side, ancient Basque script for Mari on the other. He would not converse more than a few seconds in Latin, every sentence preceded by, "May Mari bless us and Christ keep us." I questioned whether he could be a monk if he worshipped Mari. He questioned how I could be in her valley and not worship her. We did not ride to the very top where the tower stood. We entered through a cave. The mountain is possessed by many, each linked to one another through the syncretic monks' scraped-out passages. The caves decorated with pews, white from dried paint, possibly not only paint. I might have observed hand marks etched between the white. The other monks wore no marks of Christ, only that of Mari. They carved white paintings on the walls, with the same tattooed bones in the valley serving as palette knives. None asked why I came. One added a drawing of me onto the wall outside my room, a drawing of my father next to it, the little corporal next to his. I still do not know how this place fits into my father's journey, nor how it finds itself in truth beyond knowledge. There is horror here. That is enough to start. enough to bear remembrance to those this place has made the world forget.
Les TGV numéro 6419 et 9241 à destination de Gothic et Milan-Porta-Garibaldi, départ 7h49, partir voie 21. Ces TGV desserviront Macron-Rocher TGV, Lyon Saint-Exupéry TGV, Chambéry-Charlézy, les voitures communes situées à la voie.
I witnessed the Shining Madonna. I felt the monks crying. I experienced the black pupils and color corneas embrace a white too dark for the eye. The monk chanting drew me from my room to the slithering halls, crooked and straight in the curves, winding down staircases with ancient basque scratched into the walls, fingernail carcasses fresh in the false scriptures. Their chanting assaulted the wall, yet grew softer the closer I came to the cavern. The cavern grew brighter in a hallway of twisting darks and effigies of the monks covered in clay and white fat. The Shining Madonna statue hunches in the fire-lit cavern, with its back pressed against the ceiling and hands forming the entrance. Her neck contorts down towards where monks bow chanting, dripping white droplets of fat-like steam down to a monk, held down by the other monks, screaming. Why do they always scream? I grow wary of the nightmares the screams conjure. In the cavern, the steam coalesced into solid objects smelling of pig fat into the monk's mouth. The same monk who gathered me from the valley below, or was it above at this point, matters little. He was of the flock chanting around the man foaming the pig fat substance. Mari has blessed you, he said to me. I noticed he no longer pretended any crosses on his robes. The monk below the Shining Madonna's mouth became overburdened with the fat foam. He did not convulse as they do in other rituals. He collapsed a head onto the rock held in place. The white material pumped out of the hole it created in his head. The man you see, he was a false brother. His finger trembled with every consonant. He was an enemy. We hate enemies. I queried what sin the victim had committed. He did not agree with the whispers of our Shining Madonna. He raised his voice in opposition to us, to our way. What is your way? He drilled bony fingers into my shoulder and forced me past the cannibal monks. I repeat, cannibal monks. To the meeting point of Shining Madonna's knees and ground. Round boulder clamped between her legs. He lassoed a rope over the boulder. His monk brothers crept on hands and legs to it, bit down on the rope, then grabbed with their hands. Pull! A wind shrieked into the cavern. The flames gave up the ghost. The monks whispered words of excitement. Do you hear the whispered words in the eastward wind? A monk asked me. Noise from rock scathing rock brought them to silence. Something was moving. The wind collapsed when a smack of marble and rock broke bits into my hair. Then it was the mouth-wet licks, slurping. flare of white light, first from her mouth, then smeared on her arms and her legs. The Madonna was moving. She painted her eyes with a streak of white, fat-like light as she crawled her head upside down. Gales from her mouth knocked over an ancient monk. Do you not hear? A monk's hands digging into my ribs proved the voice was aimed at me. She tells us you are to be trusted. She tells us we need no longer hide behind modern religion. We can reveal the truth of Mari. You can reveal the truth about Mari.
Hôtel de Ville.
Terminus.
Mari is primeval. It was awake at the birth of Socrates, feasted during the abortion of the Spanish Empire, slept as German tanks rolled into Poland. But Mari cares not of humans. Mari fits the definition of tyrant closer than any god. Yet. The second sacrifice was the most damning. A young monk I learned was named Roland, before he had foregone individual thought for shining Madonna worship. He was imprisoned. I crept to the cell the night before. There were no guards, the door unlocked. I whispered to him, "Help, escape plans." He did not react. I told him I can help create a life for him, away from the monks. Silence. When I touched him, he cried out, "I am to be sacrificed," and promptly closed his eyes. I left. He grabbed my hand. "Please be there," he begged. The same pig-fat trip, the same chanting, the same rabies mouth foam. Once again, the monks opened the wind door, the same darkness engulfed. But when she painted herself glowing, I fathomed words from her breaths. The witness is here. The monks murmured the name, tasted it, threw theories to which of them it could be. The memory of my father in the desert, studying ancient rock murmuring the witness, was undeniable to me. The glow of the shining Madonna flared and faded. It was gone. Noise of her moving to her resting embrace of the cavern, and the etching of a pen. The monks grew ecstatic at these first signs of the witness. He counted their names, first Roland, followed by the others, to their idiotic delight. He counted their names, first Roland, followed by the others, to their idiotic delight. I could see his blue eyes reflect in the cavern. He blinked, gone. A boulder fell on the monk to my left, another on the right. Squashed screams echoed as I ascended the cavern stairs. Monks behind me hurtled for safer ground, far away from the sacred ritual. Monks behind me hurtled for safer ground, far away from their sacred ritual. The monk who acted my welcome to the valley heaved my collar from the exit to the white pew room. A boulder cracked from the roof, crashed over my nose, and took my blood with it through the floor, down a chamber, pinning a monk's head between a boulder and an altar to the shining Madonna, hands still clamped in prayer. The acolyte to my rear fell to his knees in prayer. I grabbed his arms and threw him over the boulder-caused chasm. He could not die. I still had 2 plentiful questions. I dragged the monk beset by whispers and convulsions to the entrance. My welcome wagon monk petrified over it. He refused us passage, wailing, "He's out there," repetitions. My patience with the brother begat a violent fist to the space between his shoulder blades. He tipped forward, to his knees, coughed blood. It stood in front of him, sickly pale yellow, unnaturally blue eyes, no hair, gaunt and tall, a book bound in atavistic leather in his hands. "Are you?" "Yes," he muttered, scratching names shaped holes in his book with an inkless pen. "Did I?" "No." He snapped the book closed. "Are you the one my father mentioned?" He smirked. "Run now, Crowley Jr." He sauntered from the entrance. My praying ball and chain of a monk clung to me with warnings not to follow the witness. I dragged the sot along. The witness reflected moonless blackness down the trail. Only his eyes proved him more than a hallucination with every neck turn. Tick, tick, tick. Crowley Jr. I felt his words without breath in my ear. He was gone. The landslide cascaded down the mountain, like the waters after Moses left the sea. The monk became obsessed with death. He prayed to let him die near his Madonna. He prayed to be a forgotten martyr, a claim contesting his escape attempts earlier, contesting human need for remembrance. I fled down the mountain, monk in hand, the rocks and mud streaming past us and over us. Seas of brown and black and gray gulped us down and spit us out with every few waves. The taste still lingers when I sleep, the mix of mud and monk blood, when the rocks threw him over me and cracked his jaw into a waterfall of red. With his weight gone, I could escape the worst of the mud flood. Bits of flowing earth could only tease my feet and knees, swallow up to my thigh, spit onto my neck, but I could escape. A swollen ankle and sprained wrist, the worst of my injuries physical. I have spent years searching for the witness. I hoped he could provide me with the answer to my father, to answer his near insane handwriting and devil diagrams. I have met with the witness. I have peered into the inhuman blue irises. And now I understand even less.